To part 2 of this business English course on finance. I hope you've listened and enjoyed part 1 and you understand more about the language of finance, because now I'm going to test you on your knowledge of the language and we'll see how you do. Let's start with the first question. And you have 4 options here: venture capital, share capital, working capital, and human capital. So the question is, Julie has what of 500k, £500,000, to see the idea to fruition. So Julie has what of 500k to see the idea to fruition. And fruition would mean to launch, effectively. So consider those 4 options for a second: venture capital, share capital, working capital, human capital. Pause the video if you need to think a little bit more about it, and when you're ready, we'll find the answer. So Julie has working capital of £500,000 to see the idea to fruition. Next one. So your options are credit, collateral, assets, and dividend. The bank usually pays a what of 6%. The bank usually pays a what of 6%. So the bank usually pays a credit, a collateral, an asset, or a dividend of 6%. Consider that for a moment, and when you're ready, we can find the answer. So the bank usually pays a dividend of 6%. So the bank is on the stock exchange and they regularly pay 6% to shareholders of the company. Next one. You have debt, disbursements, expenses, and fees. He claimed travel what of £3,000 last month? He claimed travel what of £3,000 last month? What do you think? When you're ready, let's find the answer. He claimed travel costs of £3,000 last month. You could also say he claimed travel expenses of £3,000 last month. They're both similar in their definitions. Share, stake, portion, allocation. Share, stake, portion, allocation. Those are your 4 options. And if you are a fan of the TV show Seinfeld, you'll appreciate the next little quote. Van der Leyen Industries has bought a 20% what in Cramerica. Van der Leyen Industries has bought a 20% what in Cramerica. Consider those options: share, stake, portion, or allocation. Let's find out. Van der Leyen Industries has bought a 20% share or stake in Cramerica. Okay, so you could say share or stake in that case. Let's turn to dependent prepositions. So remember, dependent prepositions, you have a noun, you have an adjective, you have a verb, and there are certain prepositions that will follow them. And you very much have to learn these. Let's take a look at the first example. So she's going to have to concentrate on, borrow from, or account for her actions on this. She's going to have to concentrate on, borrow from, or account for her actions on this. So consider that, and when you're ready, let's find the answer. So she's going to have to account for her actions on this. She's going to have to account for her actions on this. And the next one. She is very optimistic to, in, about, with the future. She is very optimistic to, in, about, with the future. What do you think? Let's take a look. She is very optimistic about the future. Good for her. Next one. The business is certain for, to, in, at, develop new products over the course of the next year. The business is certain for, to, in, at, develop new products over the course of the next year. What do you think? The business is certain to develop new products over the course of the next year. The cost for, between, over, of raw materials has risen exponentially in the past 6 months. Okay, the cost for, between, over, or of raw materials has risen exponentially in the past 6 months. Consider those, and when you are ready, we can find out the answer. The cost of raw materials has risen exponentially in the past 6 months. The cost of raw materials has risen exponentially in the past 6 months. The demand with, for, to, or at coffee has gone down massively in the last few weeks. The demand with, for, to, or at coffee has gone down massively in the last few weeks. What do you think? The demand for coffee has gone down massively in the last few weeks. The demand for coffee has gone down massively in the last few weeks. That concludes this module on finance, and I would encourage you to have a look at the other courses that are available to you from me, the idioms course and the vocabulary course. Both of them deliver an incredible amount of value in terms of the language that you can learn. On the Business English Idioms course, there are over 45 idioms that are used in workplaces in the UK, the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand that you can learn and use during your working time. And in the vocabulary course, you can learn so much about how to communicate effectively. You can learn so much about marketing, about management. I would really encourage you to look at both of those courses. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Mike Davis. See you soon.